Welcome to today's live stream. I'm going to guide you through voice building techniques to strengthen your voice and last on tour. You know, many vocal techniques consist of warming up the voice for performance more so than anything else. And the idea of voice building techniques are not new to the market. They're not new to me. Well, they're not new to me, but they are newer to the market. I've been teaching them for over 30 years from my studio in New York from inside my co-vocal method. And in real vocal training, the singer undergoes various aspects of voice that address the different needs and functions of the vocal instrument from a technical pedagogy perspective. All are important to develop the voice to its fullest potential, but mostly what you'll find out there is warm-ups. Warm up, warm up, warm up, right? Or adjusting the sound, throwing the sound here, throwing the sound there, you know, those kinds of performance techniques, but not real pedagogy in terms of voice building. And without voice building, singers just end up in a continual process of warming up without building the real core vocal strength in the voice or conditioning the voice to take care of vocal health and longevity. And the voice can burn out or have vocal problems, real vocal problems, you know, nodules or those kinds of issues or polyps or things or hemorrhages, things that come from the wear and tear of singing or using techniques that don't have vocal health baked into it, like my co-vocal method. And so inside of my method, I teach the 5 main components that build the voice. And those are the warm-ups, vocal therapy, including cool downs, so warm-ups, cool downs, vocal voice building, conditioning, and then fundamentals, which build the actual different aspects of the voice on a technical level. To tour successfully and avoid strain, voice building is the solution to building a strong and resilient instrument. And if you haven't done it, you haven't even begun to tap into the full potential of your voice. The great thing about this method is it doesn't take away your style. It doesn't change your inherent natural sound. It only enhances it. So I know when I first started out looking for a good methodology to train my voice with, you know, I was singing in a rock band and I didn't want to sing like a musical theater singer. And most of the vocal techniques or coaches at that time were either musical theater, Broadway here in New York, opera, or jazz. And that was kind of it, right? So when I found this method, the great thing about it is it applies to all genres. You can be training in any genre using this technique, which is great because we're not manipulating sound on the surface of the voice. We're actually like an athlete would strengthen their connections, their muscles, their strength, their cardiovascular health, all of the things that they need to perform well. That's what this methodology does, is make you a stronger singer and at the same time helping you maintain vocal health and prevent technique and burnout on tour. And I hear you, those of you who have, I see a note here of somebody who was just diagnosed with muscle tension dysphonia, and people who have had nodules or problems. It's not uncommon. The one thing I will say, muscle tension dysphonia is, what it means is deep tensions in the muscles surrounding the voice. So we have to be careful with diagnoses. We look for them because we need to know what's going on. But when you keep in mind that, you know, Big Pharma created diagnoses to dispense medicines, we have to understand that, you know, diagnoses can be spells. Words are spells. So we have to be careful. And the reason I mention that is really what it means is deep tensions inside the muscles surrounding the instrument. But you walk around saying, I have muscle dysphonia, I have muscle dysphonia. And then I'm not saying it isn't real. It's very real. It's a real thing. But what happens is then you label yourself and then you live with that label and you entrench that label deeper into your field, which you don't need to do. It's like, oh, I need to address releasing. So, what would be great for you, my friend, Lindsay, is the Better Voice Challenge, because the Better Voice Challenge walks you through 8 sequences, release sequences that release the voice so you can actually experience what it feels like within 4 1-hour workshops. And it's free for the time being. We are turning that into a paid product, but you can still get in free for the time being. So make sure that you sign up for that, carriecoll.com/better voice challenge. And you'll see it on all of our links, because you can walk through those sequences that I take you step by step through. There are 4 workshop styles that are pre-recorded. It was a live program, but it's so good. We wanted to keep it exactly as it is because it's so good. And each singer gets a real experience. And there wasn't one person in that workshop that did not feel the release and more sound with less strain. So make sure that you take that. And then once you've released the voice and you're experiencing less tension, and that's why I work into the exercises, even into my voice building release sequences that are addressing the external tensions from the accessory muscles, right? So, inside of my co-vocal method, where I teach those pieces and the voice building elements, that's where first we have to release the tension in the surrounding muscles so that we're not using the compensatory muscles, which constrict the voice and cause vocal problems. We're getting to the core. We're using particular positions that get to build the core strength of the voice. And then as we're doing that, we're also factoring in the health of the voice so that all of the movements that you're doing are leading you towards a healthier and healthier and healthier voice as you move through the trajectory of the exercises. So the topics I'm covering today are voice building. How does it differ from warm-ups? The art and science of voice building, the key components of voice building, and how to use voice building to prepare to go on tour, and how do you practice voice building. So what is voice building? So I've been talking about that basically. So no one really talks about voice building, primarily because they don't know about the power of it or haven't learned it in pedagogy. There's a lot of vocal coaches out there that aren't certified, that haven't gone through a full program, which is why we have our vocal coach certification program. And they don't know these methodologies, but it really is the key to building a foundational tone, timbre, strength, and resiliency in the voice. Vocal warm-ups are used to warm up the voice before singing, to warm up and open the voice to give a better performance. On the contrary, voice building exercises actually build the core of the voice. They build the legato line, they build the overtone series, they build the resonance, they build the range, they build all of these things, right? That in warm-ups we're just touching, but in voice building is where we really do the real work. And the first part of this series consists, in my voice building series, we have 3 parts. And the first part, well, actually, within all of them, we target the middle of the voice, actually more the first part. In the second and third part, we go in a little bit higher, but we're still kind of in that middle area to middle to high, low to middle to high, but not high of the voice, because we want to go through the middle where it's the weakest. And this is where we want to clean up the vocal path, which means the way that you're transiting your register shifts, and to really build strength in that region where tone and timbre and range are really established and improved. And this is where we really want to work. The art and science of voice building is not new to true pedagogy, but has lost its message in the flurry of social media and American Idol, with an over focus on warming up for the performance, right? The power of voice building with technique is prevalent. So voice building is a serious practice that I start all singers on right away, because it holds the keys to true vocal development, better sound production, and overall vocal health. And the stronger that you are, the less you damage yourself, right? Singers are athletes of the small muscles of the voice and breathing. And like an athlete, the practice of building the voice will really improve the strength and all the coordinations of the breath and the muscles that we need to use and the stop using, the muscles that are over functioning, that are interfering, and then we want to increase the response in the under functioning muscles that are usually being overbeared by the over functioning muscles. Then we want to build strength there, right? So I'm just getting a little note. I still am live, right? I wonder why. Hang on 1 second. I have to fix something. Okay, that should do it. So I created a program for you that takes you step by step through these voice building techniques, okay? That is organized into a system, a step-by-step system inside my Vocal Freedom Circle. So for those of you really wanting to jump in to really experience the difference when you're using a correct system that has warm-up, that has vocal therapy, that has cool downs, that has voice building, that has conditioning, and this is where you're going to experience the real difference, go and join my Vocal Freedom Circle. And we have it's an evergreen program, so you can go step by step through it at your own pace. There are 8 modules, and there's 75 exercises in level 1 of the co-vocal method, yours to keep on audio and video. And then we meet once a month ongoing for everyone in the community to ask questions on a private Zoom. So if you're really ready to do that, go and do that. Join our Vocal Freedom Circle. Number 3, the key benefits of voice building. There are many components and benefits of voice building for singers at all stages of their vocal development. So if you've never practiced voice building, a tremendous amount of development and improvement awaits you. Here's a quick snapshot. So it builds the legato line, which is the connection between your notes, which is that smoothness when singers sing that is enviable, right? It's like, how are they doing that so smooth? Voice building builds the overtone series, and the overtone series are the harmonics that ring within each fundamental tone. There are harmonics that ring that fill out and make the sound more resonant, fuller, richer. One of the things people complain about as they get higher is the thinness in the voice, right? So as the voice gets higher, the tendency is it gets tighter and tighter, and then the larynx gets pushed up and everything gets congested and tight. But when you practice voice building, you learn how to keep that open as you're getting higher, building the overtone series, which improves the tone of resonance. Number 3, it smooths and strengthens the register shift. So number 1 is it builds the legato line, the connection between your notes. 2, it builds the overtone series, which improves tone and resonance. 3, it smooths and strengthens the register shifts, like I was talking about a moment ago. The transitions as you are shifting registers. We want to create that cleaner vocal path so that your voice knows how to transit those register shifts in a healthy way and not in a bumpy way, in a smooth way. Number 4, voice building extends the range in both directions. Number 4, it improves the overall strength and endurance of the voice, so you can sing much longer. At the top of my performance career, I could sing 8 hours, the top of my voice, without losing my voice from the voice building work that I did. Voice building also protects the voice from injury or damage. The stronger you are, the less you're going to damage yourself. And it improves longevity. So the singer can sing well into their yonder years with their full voice. The 4th point I wanted to talk about and touch on, and then I'll open it up for questions, is how to use voice building to prepare for going on tour or recording an album, right? So if you're just doing warm-ups and that's all you've done, that's fine, but you're not really going to prepare the way that you could for an actual album or for going on tour. And I know a lot of singers don't realize that they're not ready to go on tour, really. They might be singing 45-minute sets locally, an hour, that kind of thing. That's nothing compared to singing 2 to 3 hours night after night after night, is where the real wear and tear of professional singing weighs in on the voice. And so voice building is extremely important for the full development of the voice to prepare for tour or for the recording of an album and then the support of that album. especially in preparation. And I like to start as much as 6 to 12 months prior to build the voice in preparation for tour recording, to really build up that, we have to strip away the compensatory tensions, and then we have to target the core voice to build up the core strength so the singer can get more sound out of their voice and endurance, especially for tour. Touring is quite grueling on the voice. Singing night after night at the top of your voice is no easy feat for anyone that's done that, right? And singers' voices often break down or experience vocal issues or vocal loss as you go through the tour. And it's a scary thing, you know, from the surface, it's like, oh yeah, whatever, you have to cancel your tour. Oh yeah, no. You're incredibly stressed out. You're disappointing your fans. Everybody on your crew is not getting paid. There's so much stress on you as the singer to be able to deliver night after night. So you really want to prepare ahead of time. The impact of a live concert, the strain on the voice is irrefutable. You need to be strong. And like athletes, it's imperative that singers train, or things are going to inevitably end up with issues or injuries. And you can avoid all that by prepping ahead of time. Number 5, how do you practice voice building? Best ways to study a method that includes voice building in their curriculum, the co-vocal method. We include voice building in our curriculum. It's a major part of our curriculum. And I've been teaching these voice building exercises since the beginning of my career, when I was trained early in these true methodologies. And they're taught inside the Vocal Freedom Circle. It's taught also inside the Vocal Mastery Program, which we lead once a year. But we are going to be releasing this summer a version, maybe even before, if we get to it, a offline or evergreen version of half part of the Vocal Mastery Program. So that, because we only lead it once a year, and I'm not doing it next October, I'm doing the advanced version, and you have to have had the initial version of it. So I'm releasing a program that gets you a start in the level 2 of the vocal mastery. So level 1, there's 3 levels to the co-vocal method. Level 1 is the foundational piece, which is really where you strip away the compensatory muscles and you build the core strength. And then in level 2, which I teach level 1 and 2 in vocal mastery, but I like when people have done the Vocal Freedom Circle first, because it gives you a chance to get started in it, and then you come to vocal mastery and you watch me teach it live. You get that reinforcement, and then I teach level 2. And level 2 is the intermediate level, where we're working on all of those pieces to get you ready for tour, or all those pieces getting you ready to record really a stellar album. And then following that, there's another run of the Vocal Mastery Program, a year long, which is the advanced version, which I'm teaching in October of 2027. 2026. 2026, I'm teaching Vocal Mastery Program level 3. 2027, I'm teaching Vocal Mastery Program level 2. Level 1 is always available in the Vocal Freedom Circle. And then I'm going to be releasing the level 1, level 2 combo from our live master classes with the other 100-something, not the full series, maybe, I'm not sure yet, like a little over half of that series I'm going to release, to get you a head start, and then you can come join the Vocal Mastery Program in October 2027. So let's go for, thank you, Jen. Hi, Jen. Good to see you. Let's go to questions. Let me go back, because I think there are some questions. Oh, Lindsay, that's fantastic. Yeah, everyone on this call today should go sign up for the Better Voice Challenge. It's free while it's still free. Starting in the new year, we're going to charge for it, because it's an incredible, right now free, 4 1-hour sessions of these 8 sequences, release sequences, and breathing sequences from the co-vocal method, which is extraordinary. And you will feel a huge difference in your voice just from that. So make sure you go to carrieco.com/better-voice-challenge and sign up for that while it's still free, because it won't be free past January, or past January 4th, I think is there, or 7th, 4th. I think it's 4th. January 4th is our cutoff date for that. So make sure you get in, and then join me on every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. I was a little late this morning, this afternoon, but where we discuss the content of the blog. So every week I'm talking, you can go after our call, go to the blog, and it's all written out for you. If you're like, what did she say? Or you missed the early part of it. You can also go to YouTube because the entire live stream is recorded live on YouTube. So it will be instantly live there. But yeah, let's go to some more questions. Let's see. Let me see if I can get to the top here. Beautiful. In terms of contemporary singing, speak about articulation, enunciation, diction, and shaping your vowels as it relates to just normal speech level singing. Well, speech level singing is not my favorite, to be honest. It's not thorough enough. I'm familiar with it. I just had a coach join our program who's this SLS teacher, and she was like, oh my God, I've done everything, and I've been teaching SLS for decades. Your method is incredibly superior. I cannot believe the difference in only 2 weeks. So this is a much deeper program. But when we talk about articulation and enunciation and diction, and I don't like the idea of shaping the vowel. All of that you're talking about, Jack, is not true pedagogy. It's not actually strengthening the instrument. It's the accoutrements, it's the add-ons on top, right? But when you've done the core work, that all of your vowels are coming from the same spot. A, E, I, O, instead of I, E, I, O. Instead of manipulating the lips to get brighter vowels or whatever that is, I don't even know what that is, but that's not what you want to do. You want the lips to be still while you're practicing technique so that you're actually articulating the vowels here in the tongue and in the mouth where they should be in the back, not in the lips, and then you add the lips on, right? But if I sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and I focus on my lips, we want it open behind the lips. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and not do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. But the focus is on the vowel, not the consonant. And yes, you want the consonant emission in there, but the singer is singing on the vowel, not the consonant, right? So that enunciation needs to be there. However, depends on what genre you're singing. And this is where it doesn't have anything to do with pedagogy. This has to do with style. In musical theater, you're over pronouncing all of the consonants to make sure that everyone can hear and understand clearly your, oh, say, can you see? But in contemporary, we want it more like you would speak, or phrased more like you would speak, and pronounced a little bit more. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light? Instead of so over efficient with the consonants, right? We don't want to overdo it because that sounds more musical theater, and then it moves into opera, right? So you have to be careful with that because it's good, but you need the core work done before you even address those things in specifics. So harmonics are and overtones are delivered from pedagogy, from clearing the vocal path and using the voice mechanically. It's not something you manipulate, right? You don't, the only way to catch harmonics is the right technique. The mouth is more open, the larynx is more down, the palate is lifted, the tongue is down. All of these things that need to be practiced within the technique. So, Jack, it sounds like I just wonder if you've had a really serious pedagogy because you're talking about things that are kind of add-ons, right? And have you trained with a really serious technique? Let me know. Like if you had a very serious regimen of actual voice building and technique and cool downs and warm-ups and conditioning and all these pieces that I'm talking about. Yeah, because it feels like you have. What method did you train with? What was the technique you trained with? So beautiful. Well, while we're waiting for Jack, thank you for joining me today. For those of you that really want a serious technique and want to feel a humongous, huge difference in your voice, come and join the Vocal Freedom Circle. John Henney, I think I've heard his name. Um, let's see what his technique is. New voice educator, singers, warm-ups, voice school. What is his pedagogy? Does it come from bel canto? Is it a full technique regimen? I've barely heard of John, but I will go and look at it. We can have a conversation later. Access to the course library. Yeah, I don't see what the content is of his technique. And how long did you train for, Jack? It was a great demonstration. Musical theater is contemporary. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, musical theater is overpronounced. And then opera singers overuse their vibrato, and musical theater tends to overuse vibrato as well. And that, to me, so I'm talking about voice building on this broadcast, which is more pedagogy, right? And technique, which to me is the cornerstone, the foundation of everything. And then on top of that is phrasing and styling and interpretation and all of that. And I teach all of that because I'm also a vocal arranger. But I don't confuse the two, because oftentimes people looking for quick techniques or quick manipulations on the surface of the voice are overthinking their styling, or that's more styling, but they're also a lot of times haven't done the core work, because those things are naturally there when you've done the deeper work. How long did you train for, Jack? Like serious training, like 5 days a week? How long did you train in technique? And did you ever do that? As it doesn't come easy with head or mixed voice, hard for when years. It's hard when for years voice is in autopilot instead of using head voice. Okay, I think I missed that conversation. Yeah, because the singer, when you are singing more correctly, you don't have to worry about manipulating or placing the sound, right? Because your voice is functioning correctly. It has better sound, bigger sound. I've never found this technique is hidden away. It has never been out to the public. And with technique for 7 years, yeah. And how often do you train? Do you train 5 days a week? I really need to know, because you're asking important questions, but I want to know what the actual extent is, because most people have not trained 5 days a week, with a 45-minute or hour regimen for 7 years. Yeah. And have you done voice building? Have you ever heard of that? And even if you've done it, you haven't done this, because this is different than any other methodology out there. But it sounds good. It sounds like you're on it. Yeah, I'd love to hear your voice. Send over a song. And I can give you a quick analysis. Yeah, most people don't have voice building. They don't have a conditioning. They don't have all of these other aspects inside the technique. Never found it anywhere. Like I said, our speech level singing coach, who studied everything, said, I've never seen anything like this. It's much more extensive than anything out there. But yeah, and I'm excited to bring it to the world. My mentor did not, and my mentor's mentor, who created the technique based on studying 40 years of vocal science. So what the chords were doing, and then comprising the technique based around that. It's a very serious, it's a very serious method. Like, it actually really works. People are like always surprised. She was surprised. She's like, in 2 weeks, I could not believe the difference in my voice. And I've been training for 20 years and teaching for 20 years. So this is a superior method, Jack. It would be good for you to check it out. So again, thanks for joining me. And I go live every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. Over the holiday, I do take a break. So I think I have next week, and that's it. Just next week until Then I'm back on the 14th of January. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for spending this time exploring what's possible for you for your voice. I'll see you guys soon.